Hey, Dustin Tibbetts here, financial advisor with Jazz Wealth Managers. How you doing today? We're financial advisors here with Jazz Wealth, and we imagine if you could work with a financial advisor no matter how much money you had, get all the planning, the strategery, the investments and everything. I hope you'll check us out at jazzwealth.com. Well, today what we're talking about is converting to a Roth IRA. Should you convert to a Roth IRA? Are you thinking about that? Are you? Well, we're about to do a class for our customers where we break it down in great detail to let them know maybe now's not the best time. But if you're thinking about it, I want to give you some tips here so that you maybe make the best make the best decision for you. Look, a conversion is moving pre-tax money to post-tax money. That's just as simple as it is. So think of it as moving from a 401k to a Roth 401k, or moving from an IRA to a Roth IRA. Did you know you could do that? If you're in your 401k at work and you decide it's best for you to move to the Roth 401k, well, that may be allowed. It's called an in-service conversion. You can just ask your employer if that's something they're willing to do. They'll give you the paperwork and help you do that if you think that's best for you. Now, moving from an IRA to a Roth IRA. So the IRA you've been putting money into, you said, I'll pay the tax later. I don't want to deal with it right now. And when you retire, you're going to pay the taxes. Now, you may have decided, I want to move it to the Roth. I want to pay the tax now because I think that I'm going to let it grow over time, or maybe I don't even need the Roth IRA and I'm going to leave it to a beneficiary. Remember, they get that benefit as well. And so you've decided that this may be a good thing. I want you to ask yourself a few questions, all right? Here we go. Number one, I want you to ask yourself, how long until you need that money? So question number one, how long until you plan to take that out? So with anything else, there's sort of a break-even analysis there, right? Think about it. When you go to refinance your home, you're like, I want to refinance my home so I can sell it next year. It may not be worth it by the time you pay the costs, and then you go sell the home. Did you break even? Did you make any money? Was it worth it? Well, think of it in the Roth IRA terms here. If you convert and you pay taxes, I'm just going to use numbers here. Let's say $10,000, right? And you say, I want to convert that from an IRA to a Roth IRA. Let's say I'm just pulling a number out here. Don't hold me to this. I have to pick a number. Let's say that you're in the 22% tax bracket and you actually have to pay 22%. Let's just say that you have to. You more than likely won't, but let's say that's the case. Well, you've got $2,200 in costs there, right? Because you got to pay the IRS. You don't have to pay to do the conversion, but you got to pay the tax. See, that $10,000 was pre-tax. So let's say you pay the $2,200 out of your own pocket, savings, or whatever you decide. Well, think about it. You, at 7% return, somewhere in that ballpark, you've got like a 3+ year break even, where that $10,000 would have grown to, say, $12,500 or something, $12,200, and for it to have made any sense, right? So typically, if you don't answer that question, how long do you have? If you don't answer by saying, I have a long time, 5, 10, 15 years, or forget it, I don't need the Roth, I'm actually doing this conversion so my beneficiary can take over and have that sort of benefit tax-wise there, well then, okay, you're on the right track. So check, number one. If you're thinking, I'd like to convert some of this money so that I could retire early, get around that 5-year rule and be able to take some money out before I retire, you got to do some number crunching there, right? So we want to make sure you're making the right decision there. Okay. All right, number two. What do you think your tax rate's going to be in retirement? This is an obvious question. What do you think you're going to pay? And a lot of people go, well, I'm retired. I'm going to pay a lot less. Careful, right? Careful here. So in a 401k and in a traditional IRA, in any pre-tax IRA, you have required minimum distributions. Means when you get to a certain age, right now it's 70 and a half, you have to start pulling money out. And guess what? That money counts as income. So when you get to that point in your life, you thought, I might have some Social Security, I got a little post-tax money, maybe some rental income, and that'll keep me in the low tax bracket. But then come the required minimum distributions, and now all of a sudden you're getting bumped up those tax brackets. So when you think of what your future tax rate will be, do not forget the required minimum distributions there. Now, I think taxes personally will be higher in the future. They are almost near historic lows right now. So, I mean, granted, they could go lower, we could figure something out, but don't you kind of feel like that we're going to have higher taxes in the future if we're already near historic lows, right? So be very careful with that. If you feel like you're going to be in a higher tax bracket in the future and you have a long time to go, question number one, then okay, now we're moving on. You might be ready to do a conversion, okay? And the third thing I want you to think about is how are you going to pay for this? In this previous example here where we came up with the $2,200, how are you going to pay that $2,200? I don't like to see when people convert money into a Roth and then they take some of that money to pay the taxes. That doesn't make sense, right? I like when we could just move everything over to the Roth. We figure out a simple, like, what you owe and everything. And then if you want to pay that money out of savings or you just happen to have that money available, then it makes more sense to me. So I don't want you to take the money from the IRA and during the conversion say, all right, just pull some of that out and I'll invest the rest. Now, instead of having that 3-year break even we talked about, it's even longer. It gets a lot tougher. Do the math on that one. You now need either a greater return or a longer amount of time to get back to where you were. All right. Hey, the fourth thing, I'll give you one last one here since we normally do 4 reasons for things or 4 tips. Could you convert a little at a time? Right? Let's say you had $10,000. Could you do $2,000 one year, $3,000 the next, wait a little bit, do another one? Yeah, you sure could. There's nothing that says you can't convert a little bit at a time as you go. Now, $10,000 was the example we use. Usually when people want to convert, we're talking serious chunks of money here, so it may make sense to convert in pieces. Ask whoever you're working with what makes the most sense for you, right? What is the most efficient, low tax way to go about it, and see if they could develop a plan for you. I'm happy to do it for all of our customers here if that becomes the case, but think about it, right? Don't just go converting because you feel like it. Think about it, work through those numbers. Well, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, maybe you'll hit that thumbs up button or subscribe button. We appreciate that. We'll also be back at 5 o'clock today to do our live show where we talk about the stock market. What a heck of a day in the stock market, right? We're going to cover that later. We'll talk about all that trade news and everything and show you the good, the bad, and the ugly of what happened in the markets today. Enjoy the rest of your day and see you later.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.